Good afternoon. My name is Kelly Macbeth. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from the Pacific Northwest, and today I'm going to make a card for you. Recently, I was in a swap, and the challenge was to use only 3 colors. So my sister and I were talking about it, and I grabbed my color coach, and we picked this one. I really wanted to use the Misty Moonlight ribbon that just came out. And so I picked Misty Moonlight, Bubble Bath, and Highland Heather. And this is the card that I created with it. So I'm going to walk you through how I did that really quickly. First of all, the supplies, the card base is standard Misty Moonlight 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. The next layer is Highland Heather. I cut that 5 3/8 by 4 1/8. And then I used the Misty Moonlight again. I embossed it with our new Pressed Flowers embossing folder. This is what it looks like. And that is 5 1/4 by 4. And then one of our new stamp sets, Label Me Grateful. I used one of these stamps and the coordinating dies. I used this tag to die cut that shape in the middle. But there's lots of fun standalone dies, and it's a beautiful set. I really like it. And then I used that's this piece right here for the label that I cut out. And then a piece of this Misty Moonlight ribbon. It is, just Misty Moonlight ribbon. But it's just beautiful with the sparkly silver on the outside edge. And it's the reason why I chose this color combo, because I really wanted to use this ribbon. But I cut that at about 5.5-ish inches. So it's a fairly simple card, pretty easy to put together. First, I'm going to move my stamp pads out of the way for a second. We're going to start with just this assembly. I just used to put the base together, I used my green glue right around the edge and adhered that. It's a very, very thin border, but I liked that it just peeked out a little bit. And when I use the green glue, it does allow me to have it set for a second. I am not going to attach this yet. Let me put this on first. So with this, I just kind of eyeballed it, maybe 1/3 of the way up. And then I used my tear and tape because I don't have any Scotch tape. And I just took a little piece, folded it over, and attached that down. And I did that on both sides. And then with the embossed, I always try to make sure I do a little extra green glue on those embossed parts, just so that I make sure that it gets in the cracks really easily, and gets it all stuck down. And then just line that up, kind of wiggle it around if you need to, press it down. That is that part there. I'm gonna set that aside for a second and bring out our tag. We're going to use Bubble Bath and Highland Heather, and I just did my blending brush to blend it. So Let me open these up and get them set up here. I always start with the lighter color, and because these are so close, I just use the same brush, but I'm going to just kind of rub it off to make sure I don't have any of that Highland Heather left on there. You can also do it on a scratch piece of paper. So I'm just going to tap, tap, tap a little bit, get some ink on there, kind of start off to the edge and rub it on there. The harder you press, the more ink you get. The lighter you press, the lighter the color. But I always start off the edge so I don't get that big clump of color. And kind of about halfway through, I'm going to rub it off the rest of the way. Get most of that color off, and I'm going to do the same thing with the Highland Heather. It's a darker color, so I don't need as much ink. Just do a quick little rub around here. Sorry for shaking the table. I apologize for that. Now when doing this, you get a little extra on here, and you can pull that color up too and use it if you want to. And then kind of just blend it in the middle. That is it for the blending part. Very simple. Let me close these guys up. And then I'm going to take the Misty Moonlight. And I pulled this stamp set out of there. A Little Kindness Makes a Big Difference. I really liked that one. The other one, I did some with this one. So Grateful for That Heart of Yours. On this one, I used the die cut, and I die cut out of the bubble bath, and then I just sponged the Highland Heather on the bottom and stamped it. So it gives you just a little bit different look, more of a solid pink look, I guess, which I really also liked. Oops, that is a little bit too, a little goes a long way. I'm just going to clean that off on my chamois really quick. I had just re-inked it, and I got a little bit of ink everywhere. Let me clean that off really quickly. All right, we'll do a light touch this time. And then just kind of eyeball it in the middle. Press it down. There. Perfect. I'll set that out of the way. Let me close this up for you. Okay, next step. I'm going to grab my dimensionals. Turn this over. Oops. Get some dimensionals on the back of here. Dimensional backings are one thing I find all over my house. Okay, and then just kind of eyeball it. I did not quite in the middle, a little bit lower, but I tried to do center to center. And then the last thing I picked was, let me get my take your pick tool. Just the basic rhinestones. I just thought with this silver border here that this would be just the perfect little touch. And then this is gonna not be super easy to pick up, of course. Oops, stuck on there. And one more at the bottom, just to bring your eye down. And that is it. A very quick, simple card with just those three colors. I made a couple other versions of it. This one, same idea, but instead of the Highland Heather in the background, I did the bubble bath in the background. And then this was my first one that I did, and I didn't put a color in the background. I just did the Misty Moonlight on the Misty Moonlight, and I really love how simple that looks. but adding that extra little pop of color, I just really enjoyed that also. So there are 3 different cards that I used with this same layout. I hope you enjoyed. Like and subscribe if you enjoy this video. Thanks for watching. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.